Ticket Machine is the official ticket broker of Spartan Nation. No matter what you need a ticket for, border to border, coast to coast, the Ticket Machine is your ticket source. So whether you need to get into the hottest concerts, the best sporting events, you want the best seats in the house, or you just want to get in the door, when you want to go to any event that requires a ticket, anywhere, border to border, coast to coast, it's always theticketmachine.com. Theticketmachine.com, 517-655-3201. Check it out today at theticketmachine.com.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you guys.
Happy New Year to you, Tom.
What the hell are you guys doing here? You could be out in good weather out.
I want to ask you about facing Monty. You know, you're a guy who has a long lineage, a great heritage, you're a Hall of Famer. Do you enjoy facing your former assistants and friends?
I don't, and this was for a lot of reasons. Monty needed a game, and he needed a game where they could make some money on it, to be very honest. And then I don't like facing my assistants. Crane a couple times. Who else did I face? Not many. Oh, Stan Joplin once. I think Mike Garland once. But I don't like it just because there's always it's always a little harder. But I do like it if I think it benefits us and them. And right now, they've got a funny team, man. They beat the daylights out of Oakland at Oakland. And the big game for them is they led almost the whole way out at Northern Kentucky. So, and they got a guard who put his name in the pro thing last year, German, and he's a good player. So I think this is going to be perfect for us. I think it's going to be good for him, but I don't like doing it.
Tom, you were an assistant when he played. Did you see a coach in him?
Oh yeah. He had a lot of the qualities being a coach, so that's why I hired him back, as an assistant coach. Monty's an incredibly intelligent kid in the classroom, but he's a very intelligent player on the floor too. And I think, his biggest problem he's had there is every great player he gets transfers. I mean, Iowa State, Minnesota, those guys have had guys starting that were in his program. So it's the same old mid-major problem. And but I think he's got a good team this year, and I think one of his better teams.
One more now before the Big Ten. What are you looking for this year?
Well, I think the big thing when I told those guys when they go back, have Santa give them something, and I think Santa gave a lot of guys a little something. The New Year's resolutions will be coming up, but it's what you change, and I told them, like Cash, I just see a different sense of purpose with him right now. Nick has been really good, and they came back last night. The most enjoyable part for me was when everybody came back. They were here earlier than they had to be, and we actually had a very good practice. Now to come back and practice at 9 this morning, and then later today, because I got to go out recruiting tonight, is difficult, but it's all part of the game. So I think what I wanted to see is, are you going to take what you weren't good at and get better at it, and really make, or some of these guys are changing the culture, changing their own DNA, and I see that. I see Cassius pushing it harder. I see him looking at defense a different way. I definitely see that in Nick, and the other guys hopefully keep building.
I heard you say before the break, you called it the projector. Throw the iPad away or wherever you look at film at. Did you do that? Did you get away and just do family for a couple days?
I did a little recruiting in that period of time, but
it means no.
No, it really means yes. I told you my mother was in town for 4 or 5 days, and I probably spent more time with her than I have in a couple of years. If I added it all up, some of the time she was listening to the recruiting calls and wondering what the hell I do for a living. And I got off and I told her the same thing. I wonder what the hell I do for a living. But it was pretty good. I mean, I can say I had a pretty good Christmas. I can say that I was anxious to get back, and I'm really anxious to get moving now.
You're going twice today, practicing twice today? Is one practice more on you guys and maybe one more like opponent install or anything?
Yeah, today was a little bit on them, and tonight's going to be a lot on individual work and a lot on their press, their zone, their out of bounds plays. But also we're going to work hard on our last second shots, our presses. Our out of bounds plays, both sideline, our last second shots. Today will be a day that we'll do this a lot next week too, because once the season starts, there's not a lot of time for this. So we're going to shore up some of those things and do a little bit on Northern Illinois, watch a little bit of film on them, and a little bit more on ourselves on the what I used to call our special team stuff.
Just kind of more the start of the very beginning of getting into that routine now, because the next game's only a few days up, and now you're kind of rolling, you know?
Yeah, it's been so strange too, because the 6 games in 16 and now 3 in 21. It's kind of bizarre, you know, the way it's been. But so what I want to try to get into this routine, and I told them the same thing, where, you know, we might have to come in the morning and school starts. We might have to come in early, and when you have a 1 or 2 day turnaround. And so that's what I'm looking at, preparing all those things. And then the other thing I've enjoyed about my time off is I get a chance to watch how other teams, especially NBA or NFL teams, are reacting to all the things that are out there right now, and listening to some of the guys that never thought would say it, talking about the social media and the problems, and some even condemning, some reporters even condemning other reporters on, are you making too big a deal about things? And it's been a real interesting experience, learning experience, and I think everybody's now starting to, I think I got more fans, don't laugh, not Michigan State or basketball fans. I think I got more fans thinking, you know what, there are these problems out there, and that's what we have to do now. We have to fight against all the distractions and learn to deal with them a little better. And as we saw, even with KD and LeBron, I mean, it hits everybody, and that's kind of what I'm looking to do.
Well, you were ahead of the curve on social media.
I was ahead of the curve. I'm glad you said that.
Yes. But it's been a problem.
Oh, it's a way bigger. It's not as big a problem for me because I don't do it. But it's been a problem for a lot of guys, and I told my team that. I said, if you look at all the guys that are struggling a little bit, a lot of it stems to that, you know, football. Distractions was a big thing, you know, on some of the pro football teams that weren't as good as they were supposed to be. A lot of it was covering distractions and problems, and from drugs to alcohol to social media, and distraction's a distraction, and that's kind of what we're going to try to avoid the best we can.
Northern Illinois, go ahead.
Do you have a comfort zone with how many threes you want these guys taking? It seemed like it kind of dipped a little bit, but you're still reducing.
Yeah, you know, that is interesting, because that was another thing that I found interesting. I listened to a lot of guys talk about the new football, you know, throw. Did you see the thing the other day? They had 6 quarterbacks that threw over 600 passes in the last 2 years, and not one of them had a winning record. And so, you know what it comes down to at the end of the day? You got to defend, and you got to be able to run the ball. And you know what? At the end of the day, for us, we got to be able to defend. We got to be able to rebound the ball. And so it was so funny to me sitting there late at night, because I could stay up and watch things or listen to things, because I really felt like, you know, there's fads that come and go, you know, the fat ties, skinny ties, all that crap. But at the end of the day, people that have been successful, there's still a way to do it. And so you adjust. You know, there's no question that the three-point shot is more relevant now than it was. But to live and die with threes, I think a lot of times you die. And I still think you got to stay to the basics and make some adjustments. And we've done that. Have we found a happy medium? I can't say totally yet, but you know, we'd like to get 20-some threes up a game, a little more than maybe we have lately. But we don't want to get 30-some threes up like we did in one game, because we don't think that's beneficial.
But if you're getting the right kind of the ones you want to see, the inside out,
yeah, then I don't care what they are, you know, if they're a 3 or not. But I mean, I think what guys do is they start settling and hunting for those, and that creates other problems, like not getting to the free throw line, not rebounding it as well. You know, those kind of things are a problem. So, you know, finding that happy medium was interesting. But the football analogy was so good. You know, why are the Cowboys all of a sudden? Well, they run the ball, and they who was another team? Seattle. who had been throwing the ball a lot. You know, now they're running. I mean, I know it's dumb, but I think it's a very pertinent point and relevant point that you can't get caught up in all the fads. You got to get caught up in what has consistently been successful for you, unless, you know, you have some incredible different talent. Like, I guess you would say, like, here's a great example. Golden State, for those years, they're spiring threes and they're doing this. But you know what they were each one of those years they won it? The best defensive team and now, you know, when that changes, things change.
What does Northern Illinois do well?
You know, they've got some great one-on-one players that are a little better than people think. They dribble, penetrate, they get in the lane better. I mean, Germany is going to be a great challenge for Cassius, and I think this is you know, a big week for him. If I said this though, the last week against Oakland, if I took you guys up to the film room right now and showed you, I don't know what it looked like from your vantage point, but from my vantage point, it was, why are we guarding the three? I'll bet you we played better D in that game defensively guarding the three than we have in a long time. And they just went in. So I looked at it differently, you know, keep perspective. Cassius did a pretty good job one time, you know. He did a better job than I thought. And so I think, you know, he's turning the corner, pushing the ball up the floor. He's doing a much better job. And I'm kind of excited about it because, you know, we all go through these things where we complain, like Nick, complain. And then when it starts to change, trust me, it's a rewarding feeling. And I think that, you know, we're getting a lot more guys getting on the same page. And now it's a matter of changing the DNA a little bit or changing the culture a little bit of that person, which he has to do things that he's not necessarily used to doing on a consistent basis. And that's what this week and a half is for.
You were talking about Monty and how he's gets good players and they transfer, and just the difficulty of the mid-major sort of job.
It's going to be all of us pretty soon, but
it's that kind of thing where, so they see guys go, and maybe guys on your staff now are like, I'm not going to jump at the first, you know, opening out there. If it's, you know, they might rethink, I'm going to hold back. Those jobs are tough. I mean.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that is the problem. I mean, it's even a problem for us about jumping on a certain player or not. You know, there's always going to be people available. It's, you know, I don't want to become transfer you, but you, unfortunately, that's why I hired Doug. We got to be on top of all those things a little bit more than we used to. And I think for coaches, the problem I see with the mid-majors is the demands are the same. You get about a 3-year window to win. If you don't win, and there, it usually means get to the tournament. And I think a lot of guys have made mistakes by not giving guys more time. But it's the way it is, and yet they want them to get money for buy games or whatever you want to call them. That's part of their budget. Well, you know, Monty could beat us, and Northern could beat Michigan, and Southern could beat Purdue or whatever. But it's probably not going to happen on a regular basis. So then all of a sudden the record starts getting worse, and then those jobs are difficult. And I don't know if that's going to change the attitude. That'd be a good thing to ask DJ. You know, I don't know what it's going to do, but I do think it is a problem.
He's at least been given a decent amount of time there, though, too, right? That's more often than not.
Yeah, he has. But I think everybody understood, and you have one other advantage when you're at certain schools, and that's a big football school for that level.
Right.
And so sometimes, you know, we always say, watch what you wish for. You know, every basketball guy wants to have what football has. I'm talking about at those levels. But when you do, you're also more hired to be fired, you know, and there's more given, more expected. So, I don't know.
You mentioned you did some work on special teams. I was talking to you earlier in the year about your inbound plays. You're getting some openings. And then here recently, I think you had some openings against Oakland that were pretty good up inbound plays.
Mike Garland has done a great job. I just kind of turned it over to him. I said, Mike, this is where we built this thing on, our special teams. And so now I get these things like, we got to spend more time on this, and so that's why we're doing it the way we're doing it. But he deserves a lot of credit. He's done a great job on that.
And getting some looks off sideline plays also.
We're getting them off both, though. You know, we went away from it for a couple of years for whatever reasons, and the only reason I can think of is coach's fault. You know, because that's not something the players. So now the emphasis is put back on it, and I think we're better at it.
That's a time investment. You got to put time in.
It is, and sometimes, you know, like last 2 years when we were so young, there's so many other things we're putting time into. That's a good point. It is an investment. So now we're going to try to do a better job of that. I said the way everything's gone now, and the way I look at the whole so many games in a short period of time and less practice time. Unfortunately, I think it's going to make the summer more critical to work on things, because you like the summer to be working on something but enjoying it. You know, you don't want to make it a grind all year long. But I think you're going to see some guys change a little bit on that, and we'll be one of them.
Tom, a lot of guys just want to become a head coach, and you have 3 assistants. I know Mike's been and come back, but that haven't jumped at just any opportunity. Did Monty really show the way? Hey, you can go get a job and get fired, or you can wait for the right job, and being here isn't a bad place to be.
We were just talking about that before when you were over there, and it's some truth to that. I think a lot of truth to that. People don't want to just jump at jobs anymore, and one reason is because, you know, some of these assistant jobs pay more now than they used to. But I think mostly is if you're not in a good situation, your chance for survival, because they do have the same issues we have. Fans, media, alums want them to win right now. And if you don't have the resources or you don't have the culture built yet, you don't get a chance to build it anymore, because ADs, to me, are so ridiculous that they just want to get rid of guys. And, you know, it reminds me of the Steelers, you know, that there's a reason they've been so good for so many years. And I'm a Tomlin fan, but I just love the way he's handled it. You know, everything's not perfect. Maybe he makes a mistake, maybe I make a mistake, but the bottom line is, the team's been successful year after year after year. It's probably because there's some continuity. You look at us, there's been continuity. You look at Purdue, there's been continuity, you know. And that doesn't mean some other team can't come up and do it for a couple of years. We are trying to do it over a test of time. Continuity's important.
I remember, though, a couple of years ago, there was a school interested in Fife, and one of their media members called me, and I said, why would he take a 50% pay cut? I mean, and that is where the schools like Michigan State have stepped up and paid.
Right. And a lot of BCS schools have, and it's not to just hold them. I mean, if my guy can get a good job, if DJ Tank can get a good job, I'm happy as hell for it. I tell him, if you got to take a pay cut, you should take a pay cut if it's a good job, because, you know, sooner or later, everybody looks at something different, you know. Right. 1 year it's big-time assistants. 1 year it's they better have head coaching experience. One day it's I want a young guy. One day it's I want an experienced guy. You know, every AD is different, but I just I think they're all hard. You know, they're all hard jobs, and you just gotta stick to what you believe in.
Tom, sorry if you mentioned this. From the last couple of weeks, you guys were in very much like a grind mode and internal type mode. With the holiday break, does that sort of disrupt that? Is this a clean restart, or are you able to continue that once these guys got back here the other day?
Well, I think I'm still in grind mode. I think you're right. You know, it was a strange thing to go from 6-16 to 3-21. I've never done that before, so that was strange to me. So we've had to adjust. But what I did is I got some practice time in then. I'm going to get some more practice time in now. They're going to get some rest. You know, I think what started to happen to us is mentally, you know, that travel, that final exams, that, you know, now they don't have those things. So in fairness to the players, this is a chance hopefully to work on your game without a lot of other distractions and improve, you know, get better, look at film. What do I got to do better? And I kind of like where this team is at now. You know, it could change, but and Nick and Cassius have been a big part of that. I've seen a monstrous growth. You know, Josh has been steady as the day is long, and Cash has been very good. But as I told him, for him to go from good to to great or great to elite, we got other steps to take. And that's what I want to do as a program, and I want them to do as individuals.
With Nick, it seems like in that Oakland game we saw some of those new aspects he's added to this game, but other than that, I don't think we've really seen him force that type of stuff. Would you agree with that? I mean, how he sort of, because he went out, he got the feedback, he knows what he has to do, but it doesn't seem like he's been forcing those other aspects or different
I've been
parts
really
of his
pleased.
game.
You know, I'm really pleased with Nick, and everybody knows there were times I was not. But if you can complain when it's not right, you should be able to, criticize when it's not right, you should be able to compliment when it is. And, sometimes coaches fear doing that because then those guys, you got to keep your foot on the pedal. But I think, too, when you've been through a lot with different guys, and guys have been through a lot, this is where the experience matters. I feel comfortable saying, that right now I like to see Cash raise it a whole nother level because I think he's got it in him. There aren't many players that got that in him. I think he's good. And I think Nick is, he's running so much better, but a lot of that is conditioning, all the things you fought for 2 years, weight. He's shooting the ball better again. Starting to work on that a little more. So that's exciting, but when you start looking ahead to this game, it's going to be important. It'll be fun to watch Cash match up against this guy. Then it starts to grind, which could be, I think, arguably one of the greatest Big Ten seasons in a long, long time. Maybe not in exact teams, but in depth and all the things we're going to go through. It's going to end at 20 games and a lot of new things that are going to make this a hell of a year.
I got one quick one. I got an email from a Spartan in New York City who went to the Rutgers game and came home for Christmas to Oakland. And he said to me he had come back for another game earlier in the year when the Izzo was here. And he said, I'd like you to ask Coach, it seems like he doesn't say much about it, but our fans used to be what Rutgers was when we were there. It used to be a home court advantage, and they've seemed to become complacent. I know you don't want to call fans out, but I thought that was an interesting observation.
I don't want to call fans out, but just like a player, just like they call me out. We all got jobs to do.
But do you notice that, hey, okay, what happened to the crowd we used to have? The loudness,
it's not as
advantage.
Quite as. Now you got to remember a couple of times, it's been a weird year for that in general. You look at, we had a game right before finals, game after finals. Kids got things to do too, and kids get in holiday mode where they're leaving before they leave, or they left before they're supposed to leave. Remember I said that in my press conference. That's one of the things I worry about my team. Can we finish the job then go to Christmas? Fans got the same issues, but when you go like 6 games and you got one home game in there, at this level, that's odd, And then you have a couple of home games against not the teams that maybe we'd like to have here. So, I just like to say that we all got to pick it up. The coach does, the players do, and the fans do. We know what this is like in the greatest times, and everybody's trying to get back to that, the TV and the 4K and where you can sit home and watch it and you seem like you're there. I mean, it's created problems. I saw where the NFL was down network 20-some%. We all got those things to do, and it's our job to make. Now, we do have a team that's fun to watch. We're scoring 89 points or 88 points a game. And I think one time we've been in the 60s, other than that, our lowest is 78 points. I mean, that's remarkable considering who we played. And I think, people will figure that out. But I think our holiday crowd the other night was pretty good considering there's no students, and I think it'll be good this week. Hopefully they'll come to our game and enjoy it. And, when's the football game that day? It's at 2:30, 3. So, I wish they would have moved ours up another hour. Oh, that's not the same day.
No.
That's what I was going to say. I hope they get warmed up for what'll be on Monday. And I'm so screwed up on days now, but it's it's got to be addressed. And you know what? I don't look at that as an insult. And the minute I say something, someone will say, well, you got to do a better job too. So I'm already saying, coach got to do a better job. That's where it starts. The team's got to do a better job. But we all have a job. And our fans' job is to make this the most electric place in the country. And it's been there before. And we maybe got to get it back a little bit. So tell your friend that Coach agrees.
That was a full house for the opening game. I imagine.
Full house.
Holiday-wise.
But like you said, there's a full house, and then there's, you could have 12,000 in there, but it's more electric, And I think
he had referenced in his email that he was here earlier in the year, and that's what he was judging it on.
Yeah.
Was when the Izzo was in.
Yeah, and but you look at a place like Rutgers. Mm-hmm. It's a good example. It was their first November sellout since 1908. In other words, right when Judd was finishing high school, and so because of that, I think. There's always going to be new enthusiasm, It'll be interesting to see how Nebraska does now because they've been pretty good. And are they going to continue that now? Or are they going to get disappointed if they don't win as many? They're going to be excited if they do. They've always been a pretty good home court, right, for them. But everybody's battling the same things, trust me, that the Xbox, the Twitter, Fortnite, young kids that would want to go there to a game that was a big deal. It's not as big a deal again, so that's why all these places are trying to find different ways to get kids there. But I think that's sad too. I think we got to get back to realizing that if your team is who you want to support, you got to support.
Thanks, Tom.